Oh, in this video, I am going to show you how to pick a track and the courses that go with those different tracks, so that you can decide, which jobs to pursue in the future and thus which courses to take. Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to pick a track and what courses within that track or combination of tracks that you should be picking, so that you can decide on what career and thus what courses you want to align in reaching that objective. So first of all, you should be very familiar with the degree plan. So there's 15 credit hours, 5 core courses, the marketing management. Then you can pick from any of these 3 statistics courses. In a nutshell, if you're doing it in the fall and you're not going to be pursuing a customer insights analytics track, you might want to do this marketing by numbers that has 70% of the same content as the statistics class, but 30% is going to be more marketing specific formulas and calculations. The OPRE 6301 is just a basic statistics course. We suggest it for the customer insights track, or if you're doing first semester in the spring or summer. And then only for those pursuing the marketing analytics track would we recommend this advanced statistics course. The other one we recommend you take, if you're an international student especially, in your first semester, is the 6309 marketing data. Really, one of the reasons that we recommend these 3 in your first semester, assuming you're taking 9 credit hours, is because they're core courses that are a prerequisite for many others. If you start jumping into electives and you really haven't decided on a specific track or focus area, you may later then regret it. Whereas with core courses, you have to take them anyway. They're a prerequisite for other courses. You need to start getting these out of the way. We have 5 highly specialized tracks. You can read them for yourself, and I'm going to be talking about each one here in a minute at more length. And then we have the marketing management, which is a very flexible track. So what it allows you to do is combine courses from all these other tracks that you see here, but also you can bring in a lot of courses from other non-marketing departments here at the General School of Management, from entrepreneurship, from business analytics, from the international management group, etc. Now, this is for international students. So one of the questions we get is, okay, there are these tracks, and which one has the most opportunity for OPT? So if you're focusing on that, then I would say that the marketing analytics by far is the best option. A second one is the consumer and shopper insights track. Then followed kind of a distant third by the digital track. Fourth by the product management. And very, very distant 5th place would be the advertising and brand for international students. Now the marketing management, again, it depends. So if you're focusing mainly on courses, combining courses from advertising and digital and maybe from entrepreneurship, some other areas, it's not going to be as helpful as if you stay in the quantitative area of courses, such as in the marketing analytics track. So which track to pick? So one of the things employers tell us, and this is validated by many reports from different venues, forums, associations. Here's one from the World Economic Forum. All the top global companies participate in the WEF. And when they they surveyed these employers, they asked them, what are the top 10 skills that you're looking for? And the latest survey showed that complex problem solving and critical thinking were the top skills. It makes a lot of sense, and it aligns with everything that our employers tell us. There's other factors, obviously, creativity, people management, emotional intelligence, etc. But these are the top 2, and I would say, based on our experience, these are lacking in a lot of students when they come into the program. So you need to be focusing on understanding what that consists of and developing the habit of starting to improve on critical thinking and solving problems. So it's not something you do overnight. It's a discovery process that's going to need you to develop this critical thinking problem solving so that you can pick a track. It's going to take you several weeks or months. Granted, there may be some of you out there that know 100% because you've already had some work experience in a particular area and you want to pursue, say, digital, or you want to pursue product management. And that's perfectly fine. Then in that case, a lot of this is not as relevant to you. However, there's always some things in this video that's applicable to every single student, even if you're 100% sure of what track to pick, because maybe you don't know which courses to pick within that track. So that's why it's important you do kind of follow the video and then look at some of the sheets that we provide. So this discovery is based on reading, research, and a very internal critical assessment of your skills and weaknesses. Also, what courses have you taken in the past in your undergraduate? Did you do well or in those or not? Unfortunately, I have a lot of students who, because marketing analytics is a growing area and pays well, they automatically want to do that. However, when they take statistics, they make a B or even a C, and they kind of double down and think they'll do better. That's just a clear signal that that area is probably not for them, okay? Unless there was some extraneous reason they got that C, they had a family emergency, what have you. But this is something you really have to be very honest with yourself. Different areas are not for everybody, so be honest. Now, we get some percentage of students that just don't want to watch anything, don't want to read anything, and just basically want somebody to tell them what courses to take, what tracks to pick. Off the bat, I would say if you're in that category, you need to avoid the marketing analytics track, the consumer and shopper insights track, and the product management track, because these heavily require you to have the ability to solve complex problems and critical thinking. And if you don't want to do this effort, clearly these functional job areas are going to be outside of your reach. And sadly, if you're in this category, and I really hope that you're not, you're just really should be basically in the marketing management track and having to take some of the courses that are lighter and easier. So here's some track information before I jump into each track. The track name does not appear in your degree or transcript, okay? They are for guidance purposes only. You can switch focus from one semester to another. You might start out in thinking, that you're going to go into digital, and then you really don't like it, and you discover that you have a passion for analytics, or vice versa. That's perfectly fine. You can do that. You can combine, mix and match, create your own track through the marketing management. Maybe you want to take a lot of courses from entrepreneurship, a lot of courses from business analytics, etc. If you're going to do that, follow the marketing management track, which gives you the most flexibility. The main thing is to take courses that align with the skills needed by the job area that match your skills. So be aware of that as really the ultimate goal in picking a track. So I'm going to talk through each track. So first thing, every track has a group of recommended. Again, these are not required, but if you want to do advertising, instead of coming to us and say, okay, I want to do advertising, there's 10, 12 courses there, which one should I take? We do this to tell you that in our opinion, if you want to be in this track, in this area career path, these 4 courses of the ones we offer are the most relevant for somebody pursuing this area. And then we've got electives for you to choose from, right? These are 12 credit hours that you should take from this, in our opinion, and then 9 from these. And you look at these and you decide which ones you want to do. Maybe there's none here, and you can grab something from the digital track. Again, you can do that. Every track also allows you to pick a 3-semester credit hour course from other areas. In this case, it's limited in advertising, ENTP, IMS, or marketing. The reason is because things like business analytics are not as relevant, IT is not as relevant to this track as these areas are. We do it for guidance purposes. So let's look at some details about this track. We recommend it mainly for U.S. citizen residents who are working already in advertising or branding and want a promotion, because there's not a lot of job growth or high-paying jobs in this area. Now, branding does have about 25% of branding jobs with good high pay. The majority, however, are not that great because it can be anything from a brand ambassador, a brand advocate, all these which are very low paying. You almost really don't need a master's degree for many of these branding jobs. This particular career area rarely hires international students. I think I've only known 1 in 10 years international student that's been hired and sponsored for a visa. So just not a lot of opportunity for that. Digital. So in our degree plan, we have, again, core courses. By the way, this is really for informational purposes. Every year there's tweaks to the catalog. Maybe this topic starts to become obsolete for one of the topics we have here. And I'm going to just make up something. Let's say that, I don't know. You hate to say it because it's not true. But let's say digital sales strategy starts to become obsolete, not a lot of demand. We may eliminate that one and replace it with another one. Okay, so that applies to all these courses. We are every year evaluating and changing and tweaking them. Usually they don't change too much. We do add new courses. So for informational purposes, always look at your current degree plan. See if you're interested in the digital area. What are the core courses? So if you come to us and you say, what do I take of all these? Well, take the core courses and then pick from these. And I'm going to help you pick from those. Now, within these electives, we have what we call Tier 1 and Tier 2. The only thing this means is that for this particular track in question, if you ask us which of all these electives are the most relevant for digital advertising and marketing, we would say it's these. There's nothing wrong with these courses, but they're not that specific, for example, customer analytics and insight or quantitative marketing decision making, to digital. Okay, they're kind of agnostic. So that's how you have to understand that. So we recommend this track for both U.S. citizens and residents, as well as international students. It is high growth and good pay. Now there's many different specialized areas within digital. You got social media versus PPC versus usability versus web analytics, and the pay varies greatly from area to area. Social media probably being at the spectrum of least pay, web analytics at the high end of the pay scale. So if you're an international student, you want to be more on the quantitative side, web analytics, e-commerce, versus, say, social media, PPC, or SEO. There's not a lot of statistics or math involved. There is some, and the more you have, the better. So, for example, this course here, Causal Analytics and A/B Test, does have quite a bit of statistics, and it does have some programming, too. So, these are things you need to read about each course. The other track is the Consumer and Shopper Insights. Again, I'm not going to go through this again, but core courses, in this case, we only have 2, and then a long list of courses that we think are relevant. Here, we didn't break it down in Tier 1 or Tier 2 because we think they're all kind of equally relevant. We recommend this for both U.S. citizens and international students. It has, of all the tracks, second highest visa sponsorship opportunities. High growth, good pay. You must be strong in statistics, but it's not a major part of the role. It's maybe 20% or so or less, 10-20% of your job is to really apply and understand statistics. Programming is not important, but some is helpful, especially if you're an international student, you have a little bit of programming, in this case SQL for database queries. That's really a good combination. The main skills is a combination of quantitative and creative insights. Basically, in a nutshell, the role of this is to conduct all kinds of research, analysis, and interpret higher level statistical models that are provided to you by data scientists, marketing analytics specialists. Those are the guys that do a lot of advanced statistical modeling. Your job as a consumer and shopper insight analyst is to look at that and see how you can apply it to specific situations in your business, like a specific promotion or a change in distribution. Okay, you are kind of that step of making this data analysis into something actionable. Uh, so for that, you have to have good general business knowledge. You should be well read, understand all these key techniques of marketing like segmentation, positioning, but also the data visualization and the presentation to customers or upper management. So it's a really interesting area of analyst, but it's not super statistical or programming required. Uh, so this is a good way also to get into the product management track. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but this is a good way to start in a role like this. And after you get that 3 to 4 years of work experience, then you can eventually become a product manager. So marketing analytics, oops. So same thing here. Here we have 2 core courses, and then we've got all these. We didn't break this one into tier 1 or tier 2. Very relevant courses in the analytics area. So it's recommended for both U.S. citizens, international, the highest visa sponsorship opportunities, high growth, high pay. You must be very strong in statistics and programming. So if you did just average, and I would say anything below a B in the statistics courses, OPRE 6301 or 6359, this track is not for you. You're not good at programming like Python. This track's not for you, okay? So shifting gears, product management, same thing. Got some core courses here. Here we do have tier 1 and tier 2. This one we recommend mainly for U.S. citizens and residents. However, if you're an international student, the opportunity might be to get into this role directly is if you have extensive industry experience and apply for jobs in that industry. For example, if you have a technical undergraduate degree like it's a engineering firm and you're an engineer and now have product management, that's a great combination. You apply for a telecommunications company as a product manager and you have experience in telecommunications, that's a good combination, okay? An international student, however, could become a product manager after 3 to 6 years of working in an industry, okay? So, that is a possibility. Start out, as I mentioned earlier, consumer insights, gain that industry, and then get into a product management role. High growth, excellent pay. Again, you must also be strong in business here, not just marketing, but things like strategy, project management, and also some financial knowledge like profit and loss. So, this is an area too, if you don't have it, you may want to consider taking a course in finance or self-study in that area. So finally, the track that's the most flexible is the marketing management track. You have 21 credit hours to pick from. However, the only caveat is that of that 21 hours, at least 3 courses or 9 credit hours must be from MKT electives. So here are all the different electives for marketing. And then the rest now you can have more obviously, but a minimum of 9 credit hours. And the rest can be from non-marketing areas. And there's a long list. I couldn't put it in this screenshot, but it is a pretty long list. So who do we recommend this for? If you want to combine courses from different tracks, if you work for your own, a family business, or you're employed by a small to medium-sized company where you have to do many different roles, more general management, a little bit of digital, some data analysis, no pricing, know something about sales strategy, this is a good track for you to pursue, so you can combine many different courses. We also have had senior marketing professionals who want to round out their knowledge in several areas. And there are some students who want to take a lot of courses outside of marketing. As I mentioned, it can be for a little bit of accounting, business analytics, etc., etc. So we're into this at the 20-minute mark. If you want to take a pause, this would be a good place to do it, and then pick up again here at the 20-minute mark. So what I'm going to talk about now is a series of considerations. Okay, now you know this background. Now let's talk about the things you need to be thinking about when deciding on a track. The first consideration is you really have to be honest with yourself and think about where your interests lie. Are they more, and your skills, I'm sorry, not just interests. Is it more on the quantitative side, like statistics, econometrics, you're good at that? Or are you more a people person, creative, people-facing? There's higher pay on the quantitative side, lower pay as a general rule on the qualitative side. So digital is a spectrum. You got web analytics, that's more on this side of the spectrum. And then you've got social media on that. And then there's some that are like in between. Some are a little bit more creative, like PPC, coming up with catchy words and calls to action and creative in your ads, etc. Then things like marketing automation, e-commerce, a little bit less of that creative, a little bit more on the data analysis, quantitative process side of things. Product management is more on the quantitative, but it does have some creativity, right, to create new products, etc. Customer insights are very similar, definitely more on the quantitative side than the creative, although, again, it's not like it's 100% quantitative. There's always elements in any kind of marketing area of qualitative. The one that has the least would be the analytics track. And then advertising and branding, definitely more on the qualitative. Obviously, there's always a little bit of quantitative element, but definitely more on this end of the spectrum. So the other consideration is work experience. You're going to command a higher salary if you have more years of relevant work experience. So a good starting point is once you get past 3 to 5 years of related work experience, then as long as you've picked a growing, well-paying track, then you should start to get that reward. But if you don't have relevant work experience, let's say you get into digital, let's say you get into consumer insights, you're not going to command a big salary initially. But after 3+ years, then you should start getting into those averages that we've shared with you on some of the sheets, and we're going to review those here shortly. The other question is there a track area where you can leverage your past work experience? So for example, if you have 4 years or more of industry experience in healthcare or software, you could consider the product management track. Now, again, not many sponsorships for international students in this area when it's not very technical. The third consideration is leverage your undergraduate degree if possible. Maybe it's just too, like tourism or HR, and there's just not a lot you can bring in, and it is what it is. But maybe you've taken some past coursework that you can leverage knowledge-wise. So for example, if you had an undergraduate degree in advertising, that would be great. Obviously into the advertising track, but not a lot of jobs there. But it would be great for the digital marketing track. It wouldn't be that useful if you go into analytics, for example. If you have an engineering degree, that would be great for product management. If you have an undergraduate work experience in finance, statistics, or math, that would be great for analytics or insights. So the other consideration you have to do, and that's why you have to be doing this research, because this is very dynamic, and when there's a recession, obviously there's less, and when things are going well, there's more jobs and in between. But this is a number of open jobs in the U.S. In a given period. So advertising, 34,000, but there's a lot of very low-paying jobs here. Okay, that's not captured in the number of jobs. Branding, much less. Customer insights, consumer insights, 40,000. Digital marketing, 68,000. marketing analytics, 58,000, product management, 40,000. So this is another consideration. That's why this area here is pretty weak. Then the other thing you have to look at is year-over-year growth. And we did some research looking at different sources here. But for example, Consumer Shopper Insights, 40%, that's a lot of growth. So right now this base is not as high, say, as digital, but it is growing quite a bit. So this is another thing for you to be considering. Then the other one, obviously very important, is what are the average national salaries? And usually this is when you have 3+ years of work experience. So you can see here the lower paying end and some of the higher ends like marketing analytics and product management. Okay, again, this is an average and it's based on 3 years. So you have to keep that in mind. Obviously, become a director, VP, these salaries can double and triple. The other thing that you need to do in this next sequence in deciding what track to pursue is there's 4 steps to pick a good track and course. So the first one is look at all these things that I've mentioned up till now. So I talked about if you're international student, which one is better for STEM. I've told you which ones pay more, pay less, quantitative, qualitative. So keep all those things in mind. Then the other thing that you should do once you start to have somewhat of a direction is we have this document of job skills to course mapping, and it's provided to you as a PDF. This is just a small screenshot. But what it does, let's say you're interested in digital, there's many different areas and jobs within digital. So for example, marketing automation, you have no clue what it is. So we provide a brief description of what it is, based on 1 to 2 years of work experience, what are some of the average salaries, what is the size of the job market just for this job title, okay? What are some of the softwares that are used, top skills that job postings for marketing automation list, and which courses, really important, do we offer that align and help you fill out any skill gap that you might have. So that's how you have to look at this document. Once you kind of know the area you're interested in, look at some of the different job titles, and then look at some of this information. This will help you decide what courses you want to pursue. Then the other thing we provide you to make life easier for you so you don't have to look at 20 different syllabuses from different marketing courses, we provide several sheets. This is just a screenshot of the first or the second page that shows you what the course is, the course name, prerequisites, is there any software that's used, are there any certifications in that course, and then what are some of the different topics that we cover in that course. Now the 4th step is to be involved in the following types of activity. If you're interested in a particular course, sit in some of those elective classes after you ask permission from the instructor. Look at the book that's in the syllabi. Get mentoring from, in my opinion, the most useful is when it comes from an industry professional in that area. So UTD has something called Common Community. We have the links provided for you in the presentation. And it connects you to alums in different areas, and by job title you can do a search, let's say e-commerce, web analytics, product management, etc., and connect with them, and they have volunteered to be mentors for current students. Very informal. I mean, you might have 1 or 2 meetings. Don't see this as like a scheduled weekly type thing where you're meeting with them. It's just you connect with them, have 1, 2 meetings, and then move on to another person. Or maybe if you guys both agree, you can continue to engage in different forms of communication, email, webinar, etc. There's also professional clubs that have these mentoring opportunities, and we'll tell you that in the newsletter that we send out. We highly recommend you attend our MS Marketing Continuing Studying Orientations. Those will be in the newsletter when they occur. peer-to-peer advising pods, and faculty mentoring. Also, there's different events throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth area or at UTD. We mentioned them in the newsletter. But if you're interested in a particular area, let's say Consumer and Shopper Insights, and there's an event here at UTD, you probably should make an effort to attend that and network and get some additional knowledge. So, when we have our continuing student orientations, the other resource we provide for you is what we call a cheat sheet. So what it does is, this is just an example for a given semester. So this one is for upcoming summer and fall classes. By track and in order of priority, we tell you in our opinion which would be the courses you should take. You should always be taking core courses. You should always be taking core courses within the track if you have a track. But we also here add things that we know. For example, maybe it's certain courses like the e-commerce or advanced web analytics is only offered in the fall, so that's why they're kind of high up on the priority list. So this is another resource for you. So how do you all bring this in, bring it in all together? So you want to start the MSN Marketing core courses in your first semester, as I mentioned earlier. Then follow the suggested core track courses. So again, if you're pursuing a particular track, all of them have some core courses, some more than others, but these are definitely some that you need to be putting down, in our opinion. Again, you don't have to. Let's say that, let's jump over here to digital. Let's say that you have been a social media manager, look at the syllabi and say, well, I already know 80% of this. Then yeah, absolutely do not take the social media course, or whichever one, if you have PPC and SEO, don't take the interactive and digital course. Take something else that you don't know that can help build out your skill set. So then for the electives in that track, sometimes we have tier 1 or tier 2, and that would be kind of our further high recommendations for a particular track. All these materials are available for you in the link where you're seeing this video from, but also we have it in our curriculum page, the fall degree plan, course descriptions, comparison, the grid, and some addition. The current degree plan is always there. So now that you've done this, the assignment that we want you to do before you request additional assistance or guidance, because this is the best way for you to get good guidance. We'll give you feedback after you submit this, and you can follow up with questions in a meeting. But if you want to do faculty mentoring, if you want to get additional advice on course, you need to complete this assignment. We have too many students in the past that have come and have absolutely no clue about why they're picking a track. They're making C's in statistics, but they say they want to be in analytics. That's just not a good thing. They ask, well, what's included in that course? And again, we have these handouts so you can come prepared and have thought through what course you want based on the topics and the skills you acquire in that course. So let me just pause this here for a second and jump into the assignment and just quickly show you how to complete it. Okay, so the way to complete the assignment is, if you're watching this video, you should be here already, how to pick a track and courses, and you've watched the video. Then we have these documents that we alluded to in the video. So what you want to do is you want to open these up and then scan and review. I mean, you're not going to read everything because you might be absolutely not interested in, I don't know, digital marketing. So that eliminates a lot of these different mentions that we have here. But you do want to focus in on the job areas you might be interested in. You want to review this course comparison grid that I also previously showed you a screenshot. This is where it's located. And it's just taking a little bit to load, and there it is. And then this document is also extremely helpful. And what it does is it shows you for the next 3 semesters. We're constantly updating this, so this is just a screenshot for the moment. Let me make this bigger. And what we show you here is what courses and what the prerequisites are going to be offered in future semesters. Summer, fall, spring of 25. Okay, so this helps you plan. So for example, as you're planning out your courses, you may see some courses that are only offered, for example, marketing by numbers at this time is only offered in the fall. Or let's say the e-commerce class is only offered in the fall. Okay, so this is another planning tool that you need to have so that you can complete the assignment. And then you want to go ahead and open up the assignment, which I have done so here. Okay, so very self-explanatory. Put your name here. What is your preferred track at this point, based on after you review all these documents, gone through the video, and thought through some of these things? Which track are you thinking of, or combination of tracks? If it's the marketing management track, within marketing management, what are the tracks or course that you're more interested in? Now, if it's very wide, that's fine. Just mention that. And let's say you want digital. What would be your backup track? Would it be analytics? Would it be product management? List your backup track. The other thing we want you to do is explain briefly why you picked your track. So it helps us see, what kind of logic you're using in having picked that. And it's things like, I have past work experience in this area. I am more on the qualitative side. I have a little bit of quantitative, but more qualitative. So as a result, I want to pick, say, social media. Okay, so that's what we want to hear from you here. We want to, before we can give you feedback on your submission, we want to know what's the thought process. Have you thought through the volume of jobs, pay, etc., etc.? Okay, now what we want you to list then is what are some for your preferred track. What are some of the job titles? Because there are some where it's exactly what it is. It's product management is product management. However, in digital, as we discussed, there's a lot of different areas. So what are some of the job titles you're interested in pursuing for that track? Maybe it's e-commerce manager. Maybe it's just social media, director of social media manager, social media and insight. Whatever it is, we want you to list what are some of those job titles you're interested in. Very related to this, we want you to do the following exercise because it's a great exercise for you to do. And that is to go to, and right now Indeed.com might be the best platform for it. But let's say that you're interested in e-commerce marketing, so you enter that here, enter USA, and then there's some, and this varies, sometimes they have it, sometimes it's only in advance. I mean, I've seen them constantly reconfiguring the look and feel of this. But let's say that, you've gone through these filters and you leave these checked. I would suggest instead of just Dallas, you put USA. I think many of you might be open to relocating if it's a good job. And then scroll through. So this is a good exercise because it helps you see how important it is. Let's go ahead and submit that. To see if the title words you're using is pulling up relevant jobs. So for example, if I had just done e-commerce, I might be getting things like an account associate. This one is relevant, e-commerce, operations manager. So that might start to get, if you look at this description, maybe into supply chain, maybe not. So sometimes you have to play with this and add some additional words to get something more relevant. Okay, so that's why we want you to do this exercise. Once you go through this, look at a couple of these, look at the pay scale, years of experience that are listed, the skills, and then go back to this sheet and enter those job titles. Okay, so you enter those job titles, and then, and then here's where you enter the job titles, the salaries, that ranges that you see, number of jobs that are listed, skills that are mentioned. So where do you see number of jobs? So for e-commerce marketing, 5,280 jobs. You kind of glance through a few of these and you see what the pay ranges are, okay? Like for e-commerce marketing, there's 90 to 110. So again, there's different ranges. We want you to see for the years of experience you're putting in, and maybe you want to see here. Usually, okay, experience level. Maybe you want to go entry level. If you have zero experience, if you have some, you might put mid. But look at some of these for entry level. So 60 to 7,000, 70,000 for entry level. So this is a really important exercise for you to help you get into the right career field. Okay. Now, the next step is I want you to cross-reference the skills that you found in the Indeed.com listings and identify the courses. So if you recall, we had this sheet that has that course mapping and a list of courses. So look through that. And what are some of the job skills that were mentioned from Indeed.com? Just do 2 or 3 job postings that you saw, and what are some of those elective courses, okay? And then in this last step, what we want you to do is list the courses, looking also at this sheet, of which courses you're going to be taking. So in the first semester, as I mentioned, you're probably going to be taking mainly core courses. But what are you going to be taking in your second semester, third semester, fourth, and in some cases, fifth semester? So this is what we're also going to be looking at, and then we'll provide you feedback. We'll say, well, you know what, based on the reasons that you pick, based on the job titles, I think you're a little bit off the mark. I'm not sure why you're picking X course. You know, maybe you have here, I don't know, cross-cultural, international, something or other, okay? And we say, but you want to be you want to be in marketing automation. That's not as relevant as courses, these others. Maybe causal A/B testing we'll mention, or maybe spreadsheet modeling, okay? So we'll kind of further validate what you've picked. It may be perfect, it may be sound, based on the area that you've decided to pursue. But that way we can give you really good feedback as to what your decisions are, okay? So once you've done that, just have to go to e-learning, and in this MS marketing module, go to the assignment link. So what you want to do is go to the submit assignment, click on that, and then what you have to do is you will have a link here for you to create your submission. Here is my, put your name again, what your submission is, upload the file, that you've saved for this assignment. And what we'll do is probably about a week later after we get these, we will check and send you back an email, and then we can go from there. If you have questions, we'll have comments, and we'll tell you to maybe change this or that, or ask you why you have picked this or that. Okay? So, this is, as you saw, just this video was close to 45 minutes. Throw in the time to read all this. That's why we found that it's just not possible, and it's not a good outcome when we don't provide this information. We don't make students go through this process and they just want to meet and get 2 or 3 pieces of advice and be on their way. It's just it's not going to work well. It's not it's too complex of a situation for such an easy approach. So good luck, and hope to see some submissions from you guys and get feedback and get you on your way to a good paying job and career.